What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the next episode of the Three Peaks Fitness Podcast. I'm Coach Mark.
I'm Coach Lynette.
And we've got a good one today. Today we wanted to talk about the three things we've learned or we've observed with clients that lose a ton of weight. The three things. We've each come up with our own three observations on, what it is that helps clients who have not only lost weight but kept it off, like legitimate weight loss, life-changing weight loss.
You will want to write this stuff down.
Yeah, you'll want.
If you're somewhere where you can take notes, this is a good one to take notes on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, because everyone and their mom wants to lose weight, right? Like we all have that belly we want to get rid of. We all want to lose weight. We're flooded with all kinds of products and services that promise that they're going to, help us lose weight. It seems like year after year there's more and more of them, but obesity rates are only going up. They're not going down.
Well, and we're living in a world where we don't have to do as much as we had to before. We don't have to work as hard for our food, so we've got a lot of food available and not much activity level required. Yeah, and that's just part of modern life.
Yeah.
So,
So,
but there is a way to lose weight in this modern world in a healthy way.
Yeah, because people have been doing it for years. There is nothing new that will come out that will help you lose weight that hasn't already been discovered. So we'll go back and forth. Lynette, why don't you go first?
Okay.
What's your number one, your first thing on your list?
So what I've noticed working with people and from my own experience is restriction and perfectionism are the enemy. Mm-hmm. They are going to sabotage you in your efforts to lose weight because the initial impulse when you step on the scale or can't fit into a dress, you're like, the first impulse is, I got to stop eating this, or I got to start doing this, like to restrict or punish yourself. Oh, I have to go for a run. Mm-hmm. So, punishing yourself with exercise and restricting food. A lot of people are in that cycle of punishment and restriction. And so that's the first thing that you need to just let go of. Mm. And it's hard to, because you think, well, that's the only thing that I've ever been able to lose weight with is restricting and exercising. Mm. What are my options if I don't have those? Yeah. Right? It's almost like the magic feather. Mm-hmm. Like the Dumbo had the magic feather. He thought, well, I can only fly if I have the feather. Yeah. But people think, I can only lose weight if I restrict and exercise. Right. But no, it's not. You can do it without that. In fact, it'll be much more successful, and you'll be mentally much better off if you can let go of the restriction and perfectionism. And we'll revisit that in some of the things you're going to bring up. Mm-hmm. But that would be my first one. Yeah,
nice. That's a good one. Yeah, for sure. I mean, my first one it's kind of in that same vein, or they're related in the sense that what I put down is you can't count stuff. So the people who I've worked with, who have you included, who have lost the most amount of weight and kept it off and completely changed their lives, they don't actually really count stuff. Like on a day, they're not the people who are weighing themselves every day. They're not the people who are super obsessive with, I can only eat 1,200 calories a day. They're not the people who are weighing every single food item that they have. They're just the people who get the most results from a weight loss standpoint and over the long term are the people who aren't worried about that.
So the fitness trackers and tracking food every day, they don't have to do all that?
Yeah, no. I know it sounds counterintuitive. It's like, you would think, the more I count, the more data I have, the better off I'll be, the more motivated I'll be. But what actually ends up happening is you just get frustrated. Yeah. Because we all have busy lives. We all have stuff going on. You're not going to enter all these numbers into your spreadsheet every single day for the rest of your life. Mm-mm. And it goes into the saying, kind of the philosophy we have here is if you can't do it, if it's not sustainable, it's not worth doing, right? So if you can't do it over the long term, don't even bother, because you should be only committing yourself to actions that you're going to be able to do for the rest of your life, right? And a good way to kind of think about it is, people who are in shape, like people who are fit, I think a lot of people would be surprised by their daily habits and their daily actions. Yes, they're active. People who are in shape are more active generally. They work out, a few times a week. They generally eat well, probably 80-20.
They pay attention to what they eat.
They pay attention, right? But they're not sitting there writing down every single food or logging every single food item in MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
It's just too much. It's too much for anyone.
Right.
And so don't even bother wasting time and energy on that. Just bring awareness and just try to do a little better each time.
Yeah.
I think that's more the philosophy that people who actually get results have is.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
did a
just try
whole
to do a
other
little better.
podcast on this, how, chasing numbers doesn't work, right? And we kind of take a deep dive into that because, we don't really actually know exactly how many calories is in
Right.
food or exactly
Yeah.
how many calories we're burning.
Yeah.
It's all just estimates.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
the big one, the scale.
The
The
scale.
the people who weigh
Oh,
themselves
that's a-
every day, you will drive yourself crazy.
Yes.
You will drive yourself, this theory that like people who weigh themselves every day don't lose weight because when they step on the scale and they don't lose weight, it jacks their cortisol up and they get stressed.
Yes.
and
Yes.
cortisol makes it more difficult to lose weight. It's a joke, but like, you people get obsessive about this number and it's kind of like, do you even know why you want to weigh what you weigh? Like, I get it. Okay, if you weigh 250 pounds and you have, like, legitimately you have weight to lose, then, yeah, it's good to see that you're going down. But so many people, they have, like, 10, 15, 20 pounds to lose, and they just have this number in their head, like, I want to weigh 150 pounds. Like, well, why?
Yeah.
Like, do you really know why you want to weigh that? Like, oh, well, I'll look better. It's like, are you sure? Have you tried resistance training?
Yeah,
That when people say they want to like look better, what they really mean is they want to have like a leaner, more athletic body, and that doesn't always coincide with, strict weight loss, right? That's not. Oftentimes it's not that way, right? Like oftentimes it is, just resistance training.
That's so true. That's so true. Like when I started here, I had a number in my head. That as I progressed, I got almost a year in, and I was still 20 pounds above the number I originally had in my head, but I decided I'm done.
Right.
No, because I hadn't factored in how much muscle I would gain, and the fact that I didn't need to be that number anyway that I had in my head. It was
Yeah.
I was like, so I was flexible. I was like, oh
That's a
no,
good way of
I'm
putting
done.
it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Being flexible is so important, and knowing, just why.
Right.
It's like the number is just a number. It just is what it is. It
Right,
doesn't
and
doesn't
it
mean
fluctuates with how much water you drink
Yeah.
and what you ate, and
anything.
it can fluctuate 5 or 10 pounds in a week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if you went out to dinner with your family and got something carby and lots of sodium and stuff, then you go weigh yourself the next day. Yeah, your weight's gonna jump, but it's not. That doesn't mean that you've put on 3 pounds.
No.
It just means you're probably holding on to a lot more water. There's all kinds of factors. But anyway.
Yeah, there's
so
too many things at play there.
Yeah. So that was my number one.
Okay, my number.
Don't count things.
My number 2. Okay, so my number 2 is most people are not eating enough.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's what I get. That's what my problem was coming in here. I remember starting. I was starting to eat better food, and I was trying to get enough protein in, like we talked about in another podcast. And I was actually having trouble because the way I was used to eating was I would eat these small, seemingly nutritious meals, but I wasn't eating enough. And then I was getting hungry all the time and snacking. Just the whole day was just one big snack. And so I wasn't eating enough of what I needed. And so then I was craving just a bunch of carbs all day long. And I thought it was just me. But no, I just wasn't getting enough protein and vegetables.
Yeah.
So most people think they're getting enough protein. Oh, well, I had, the little chicken cubes that come on the Chick-fil-A salad. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a good start.
Yeah, that's such a good one and so true. Yeah, because we just we live in like a snack culture.
Yeah.
Right. Like you go to the grocery store, like 80% of the shit there is snacks. Right. It's you got your pretzels, you got your chips, you got your look, snacks aren't bad. There's no such thing as a bad food. Right. It's just about how you use it.
Yeah, they're not bad.
But I could totally see where there are a lot of individuals who do eat a lot, right?
Yeah.
But they're just not eating the right things.
Yeah.
And so eating, or on the flip side, you definitely have people who are too strict with themselves and don't just don't eat enough.
They're just not eating
right?
enough.
So there's two of those, two
Yeah.
different, issues there, but, two sides of the same coin where it's either you're not eating enough or you're not eating enough of the right thing.
Yeah, yeah, and you think, oh, well, here's the deception that happens is, oh, I ate my 3 meals a day, and you may not even mentally remember the snacks because you're eating those while you're on a computer screen, while you're driving the car, while you're doing other things, and your brain didn't even record that you ate snacks. So all you remember is, I had that healthy breakfast, that healthy lunch, and dinner, like, what's going on? And and here's the truth. No one's going to like hearing this. Your body doesn't need snacks. unless you have like a medical condition like diabetes or cirrhosis or something where you have to keep, your blood sugar at a certain level. But most people, you don't need snacks. Just eat your meals. I tell you what, I went to France once and I was still in high school, so I was still in like heavy teenage snack mode. And it drove me nuts because we would have breakfast at 6 a.m. and then nothing till noon, and then nothing till 7 p.m. And then, dinner took 3 hours. So you would sit and eat dinner for 3 hours. So they ate slow and they ate really far apart.
Yeah.
And I was just the whole time, it was like boot camp for me. But there's some wisdom in that. You don't need a ton of snacks all day long. You know. I'm not opposed to people eating a snack if they really feel like they need one, but I don't think we need as many snacks as we think we do.
Yeah, I think snacking is definitely more of a comfort thing for most people.
It's a psychological thing.
Yeah, then you're not actually hungry. You're just you just like the taste of,
You just feel snacky.
cheese puffs or whatever. Yeah, you just feel snacky. So.
Yeah, not eating enough.
Yeah. Well, going off what you said about you don't even remember, snacking. My number 2 also has to do with memory. So I said my number 2 thing that I've observed with people who lose a lot of weight and keep it off, they have a short-term memory.
Yes.
So what I mean by this is when I was in college, my football coach, he would always tell us we have to have a short-term memory because if you were in a game and you had a bad play or whatever, you messed up, he would tell us, no, you got to have a short-term memory because if you're sitting there all living in the past and all wrapped up, oh man, I can't believe I missed that tackle, whatever it is, you're going to screw up the next play and the next play and the next play. And so I think the same thing applies to people who are trying to lose weight. You have to have a short-term memory. So what if you had an extra donut in your office lounge or whatever? So what? Yeah. Okay, you missed the workout. Get over it. You know what I mean? Like you have to you have to have compassion for yourself and just realize like you're a human being. You have stuff going on. Yeah. Like you have to be able to let those things go and not beat yourself up over it because when you get so obsessed, it actually is kind of similar to the numbers thing, right? Because you're kind of you're making it pass fail. You're saying, did I hit my 3 workouts this week? If not, oh my gosh, I'm a failure, right? Oh my gosh, I only made it to 2 workouts instead of the 3. Yeah. Freaking up. Oh. And then it becomes about the number more than the actual goal itself, Yeah. And so I think you just have to have a really short-term memory and just give yourself some grace and just, you're not perfect, you know what I mean? But just try to do better each time and be okay with that.
I think that that ties in with the perfectionism that I was talking about at the beginning. So, when you expect perfection from yourself, it's going to sabotage all your results. It's going to sabotage your momentum. So, that ability to just jump back in, just keep jumping back in. Like the whole time that I was losing my 70 pounds, I never had a perfect day of eating. Not a single perfect day of eating. And just every day I woke up like, all right, here we go again. You know, or even the next meal or the next moment. Like you can restart any moment during the day. Like it doesn't matter. Like, oh, well, I did that thing. Okay. Move on. If you want to reflect on it and use it as a learning tool, to reverse engineer, like, oh, you know what? I think having pretzels on the countertop is not working for me. All right, well, let's put them in the cupboard or throw them away or whatever you need to do that's causing. But just enough, maybe work on it just long enough to work through the problem and then forget about it. Right? Short-term memory, move on. Yeah. Move on. It doesn't matter.
Just it is what it is. You can't do anything about it.
You can't. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. Learn from it, move on.
Yeah. It's so funny. There are so many people, at least at our gym, who are, successful in their careers and successful in their families, and they have they I'm sure they adopt these types of philosophies in other areas of their lives, but have maybe a hard time doing it in the fitness realm for
that's
whatever
such a
reason.
good point.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Okay. Well, yeah, like when you drive
Mm-hmm.
and you miss an exit or you accidentally cut someone off, do you sit at home and I'm such
Brood
a
about
bad
it.
driver?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
No, most of us don't do that.
Yeah. Do you sit at home and do you not drive again? Because I missed the exit. I can never. I'm a failure. I guess I can't drive. Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, it's the same thing with fitness.
No, you get in the car and you go because that's life.
That's life. Got to move on. So, well, yeah, that was my number 2. What do you have for your third one, Lynette?
My third one. See, I'm having trouble here because I actually wrote down 4, so I have to pick one for the third one. Okay. You have to start small. We really underestimate the power of doing something small to move you towards your goals. And this is especially important if your motivation is low. So people who are willing to do really small habits and really small changes, that nothing can stop them. So if you're always expecting to make the big change, like, oh, that's not a big enough goal, that's not a big enough change. Like if I suggest, hey, just add carrot sticks to that afternoon snack of cheese. Just that's all I want you to work on is just add the carrot sticks to the cheese snack. And some people are like, that is so completely lame. Like I'm not gonna lose any weight doing that. That's not gonna produce a change. But the people that are humble and are willing to do, they're willing to do the small thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm just gonna do that for 2 weeks, see what happens. Then we can build on that. Then gradually, maybe less cheese, another vegetable. That gives you a foundation to build on, and you can keep building on that small change. But if you're not willing to do that, like, that's not a big enough change. Like, I need to just completely revamp what I eat.
Yeah.
Those people might be really successful for 3 weeks or longer, maybe even 6 months, whatever. Some people are really good at restriction for a while.
Yeah.
But over time, they're not making changes that they can keep the rest of their lives. So I think being willing to make small changes and do them in the next, like when you decide to do something, do it in the next 2 to 5 minutes. Like, all right now, what do I need to do to make this happen? I'm going to go buy carrot sticks, or I'm going to take those and put them in a sandwich bag and put them with the cheese, or just do some little tiny thing to move you towards that goal. Or if your goal is to work out more, okay, pick up the phone and make an appointment for your gym. Like call a friend, like, we're going to go running tomorrow at 5 a.m. Or do something that takes 5 or less minutes to move you towards whatever the thing is that you just decided to do.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you definitely have to be humble and
Yeah.
realize that it just takes time
Yeah.
to get there. And to your point, something that I think is really helpful is the idea of subtraction by addition.
Yeah.
Right, because so many people, especially when you have that restriction mindset, you're
Yeah.
just take away. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat any carbs now. I'm not going to have more than 1,200 calories a day. It's just all restriction, right?
Yeah.
It's all taking away.
Yeah.
But the things that are most helpful are like adding
things.
small things.
You
right?
always add. I
Yeah.
always tell people addition before subtraction.
Addition before subtraction, right?
Yeah.
So add those carrots.
Yeah.
And I'm eating cheese for a snack. Okay, like there's nothing wrong with cheese. Let's
add
try to
some
add. Let's try to add. I know
Yeah.
one of the practices you do with a lot of your nutrition clients is veggies.
Yeah.
Let's just try to add.
Let's add
a
some
serving of
veggies to your meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just something like.
Add
And
it.
if adding it to 2 meals is too much, all right, let's add it to 1 meal.
Yeah.
If 1 meal is too much, it's like, let's add a bite.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just wherever you are, you have to bring your goals have to meet you
Right.
where you are.
And you just have to have faith that, okay, even though this isn't going to produce any weight loss right away, this is going to get me where I want to go. Because if I do this for a year, there's going to be changes.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
a perfect segue. Thank you, Lynette, into my number 3, which was you have to play the long game.
Yeah.
And so we don't work with clients like this anymore, just because our philosophy has changed. But in the past, I've taken on clients that, maybe they had a wedding coming up, or they had a vacation coming up, and they wanted, I got to lose 15 pounds fast. Like, I got to lose 20 pounds by next month. And not one time in 10 years have I ever worked with a client who lost weight rapidly but kept it off long term. Ever.
Wow.
Not once.
Wow.
And a lot of times they gain the weight back, and that weight, those pounds, he brings friends with him, right? Like they end up even heavier than they were, when they started.
I remember that. I lived that, because I remember coming in here every week, and I would hear other people talk about, I lost 3 pounds this week. I lost 4 pounds this week.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with my 0.2. I lost 0.2.
Yeah.
Every week, 0.2, 0.3, 0.2,
Yeah.
0.3, But, they came and went, and they all gained the weight, and they're like, I'm still here.
Yeah.
It's because I was willing to do the small thing.
Right. And here, not only are you here, but you're teaching people how to do that. It's come full circle.
But mentally, I decided, no, this is for life. Like, that's at the beginning. I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm getting off the merry-go-round, and I'm gonna do this for life. I'm gonna eat the way I can eat the rest of my life.
Yeah. And that actually brings up a point so there's a concept created by the author Simon Sinek, and it's the finite game versus the infinite games.
Okay.
There's two types of games in the world, right? Finite games are games where, it's two sides, both sides agree to the rules, there's a score, and there's a winner and a loser at the end, right? So sports are finite games, right? Football, there's two teams, there's a rule book, both sides agree on the rules, there's a scoreboard, and, after 60 minutes, someone wins and someone loses, right? But then there's things like infinite games. And so infinite games are things like marriage, things like raising children, things like getting in shape, right? And so you have the goal of a finite game is to win.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
To win by whatever measure that's been decided upon, right? For football, it's having a higher score than your opponent, right? That's how you win.
So there's a finish line.
There's a finish line,
Okay.
right? For infinite games, the only goal is to keep going, right? The goal is to just keep going, right? So if you're in a marriage, right, the goal is, you'll have turbulent times, and you won't always see eye to eye and stuff. But the goal is not to. You're not going to say, I won at marriage, right? Like, I win. That's not the goal. The goal is to stay married and just keep keep building. Raising kids, same thing. You don't win at parenting.
Yeah.
There may be times where
people think they do.
Yeah.
They take credit for their kids' successes, but that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah. So you don't win.
The idea is just keep it
but
going.
Just keep going. Just keep parenting. The same thing with losing weight, getting in shape, being fit. The people who are the most successful, like yourself, don't look at it like, okay, it's like the when-then fallacy. When I get to 150 pounds, then I'll be happy. It's like, okay, I always like to ask a follow-up question, then what?
Then what?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, everything goes according to plan, you reach 150, then what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What, people don't think about it. They don't think past that point.
What do I do at that point?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's because that's a flawed way of thinking, right? You need to think about it long term. The longer, time horizon you can set on your fitness goals, the more successful you'll be. And also, it just takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Right? We set these numbers, right? I want to weigh 150 pounds by December. And then it's November 28th rolls around, and you're still at 180, and you're like, you're freaking out.
And now you have failed.
And now you failed, right? Right.
Oh my gosh.
Instead of just playing an infinite game,
the whole country is doing this.
Yeah. It's like my goal is just to be as fit as I can every day.
Right.
And whatever that means on that given day, that's enough, right? If I have a really stressful day, maybe one of my family members is sick, or my kids are sick home from school, and I have this crazy project at work, and I forgot to go grocery shopping, and so it was just you
Yeah.
know, whatever, we're just going to order something. Like, it's okay. That doesn't mean you failed. It's just that day.
Yeah.
Like when you go to, if the best you can do that day when you order something
Yeah.
is to order a salad
Yeah.
with chicken on it, right?
Yeah.
Then that's okay. Then that's the best you can do, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's all those, kind of going back to what you were saying, it's
Yeah.
all those small little decisions
Yeah.
that over the course of 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years
Yeah.
lead to someone being in shape, losing weight,
Yeah.
and doing so in a sustainable
Right.
way, more so than the crazy,
Yeah.
intense,
So
restrictive.
for
mindset.
people out there that function off goals, people do like to make goals.
Yeah.
So if you do want to make a fitness goal that is really like healthy as opposed to mentally destructive, like what you've just described, then make the goal be like, all right, this year I want to be a person that eats vegetables. Maybe vegetables is a challenge for you. It's like I want to be able to eat a vegetable with every meal and enjoy them, because there's ways to cook them. There's people called super tasters that hate vegetables because they're bitter. I'm one of those people. Vegetables taste super bitter to me, so I had to put myself through like veggie boot camp, learn how to make them, learn how to eat them. Like that was the goal. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn how to eat vegetables. So the goal wasn't the weight. The goal was how to eat. And so if you're into goals and you really want to have health related goals, make it based on the behavior, not on the weight.
Yeah,
So, and
that's
then,
good.
yeah, so that's what I would do, because you'll feel that's something you can accomplish. Like, I can learn how to cook asparagus. I can learn how to, I can learn 3 ways of preparing zucchini.
Yeah.
Like, that's something you can totally do, and it'll make food more enjoyable. So
Yeah.
that's what I would suggest if you're going to make a goal.
Yeah, we always, SMART goals. Everyone always talk about SMART goals. SMART
Yeah.
goals. SMART goals aren't, in my opinion, aren't always the best. Actually,
Yeah.
When it comes to it's not always, the more specific you are, it doesn't necessarily mean the better off you're going to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes measurable isn't helpful, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's better to just, like what you're saying,
Yeah.
kind of make it a vague goal that is still going to help you.
Yeah.
Right. Like this year I want to eat more vegetables.
Yeah.
And that gives you that flexibility on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis where, okay, maybe that crazy day that I was just talking about, you
Yeah.
could only get, 1 serving of spinach or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You are still moving towards your goal. But if you say, I'm going to have 4 servings of spinach per day and 3 servings of kale, and I'm going to do this by April 31st, it's just too much. It's too
Yeah,
much.
yeah. I really like what you're bringing up. We want to make goals and set our aspirations for something. Health is not something that you only do when you have time for, right? So we want to be able to find a way to be healthy that fits into your lifestyle instead of force-fitting your life for 6 to 12 weeks into someone else's program.
Right.
So this is going to require more nuance, kind of give and take, some trial and error. Like you're talking about all those crazy days where, we had back to school night and, I was only home for 5 minutes with the kids. And, you can fit your version of health in the context of that life. But if you're trying to fit someone else's program of you have to eat this much protein, this many cups of vegetables, then that day is going to look like a failure. But when I work with my clients, I'm like, no, when you're in the middle of that crazy day, you're always thinking, okay, what can I do?
Right.
What can I do today? What's available to me? I'm going to do the best I can. And then that short-term memory kicks in. Move on.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I did the best I can. Move on.
Yeah.
And just don't. Guilt is not useful when it comes to health practices. The only reason to feel guilty for eating any kind of food is if you stole it or killed someone to get it. That's the only reason why you should feel guilty.
Yeah.
So for not doing a health practice. So other than that, you just do the best you can in the context of your life, and then move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Yeah, guys. Well, so hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully this changed your perspective a little bit.
Yes.
I
hope so.
Yeah. Show yourself some compassion, short-term memory.
Yeah.
Don't count things, and just play the long game.
Yes.
And watch what happens.
Yeah, you will go much longer. You won't have the short-term success that people ever have. You'll have a lifetime of success.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you next time.
All right, bye-bye.